and welcome back. A big well done to all of you that ran for supply chain excellence this morning. I am really excited to be back here with you. Today we've got Ashley with us, which is our first interview this morning, our first guest, and we've also got Alex with me today as well. And all of you in the audience, we have a couple of questions for you as well. We're going to have our first poll in just a minute. We had a great day yesterday. And if you want to let us know your feedback in the Ask part of the platform, we would love to hear from you. We want to get you a little bit more engaged today. We're going to have some fun trivia, and we're going to just have a lot of really, really great, valuable content for you, and super excited for you to see that. So make sure that you join in on everything. Can
I add one thing?
Yes, please.
Use the hashtag supply chain 2030 or imagine 2030. We're following both. We're excited to see you all on the social scene as well. Twitter and LinkedIn is kind of where we're following and engaging with people on. So thanks to those that have posted something using that hashtag, and we're looking forward to more.
Yeah, and Alex, you're going to updated all day as to what people are tweeting and what they're talking about on LinkedIn. Here in person, I was really happy to get to meet a lot of folks. Alma, I got to meet in person for the first time yesterday, and that was really exciting as well. So make sure you join in on social media, on our polls. We've got some fantastic prizes, including to next year's event, a 45-minute consultation session with Laura, and an appearance on Laura's podcast, and so much more. So let's get to the first poll of the day. So the question is, what was the best part of day one? So your options are River of Demand, breakout rooms, case studies, and homework. So while you are all weighing in on that poll, there's just one more bit of business we need to cover, and that's the Run for Supply Chain Excellence winners. So the winners are Matt Spooner and Larry Layden. Matt came in at 5.1 miles in 30 minutes, and Larry, I think, came in at about 4.3 miles. Congratulations. That is amazing. I am not a runner, so I think that's
We were eating bacon,
that's right. But I think that's pretty good. You know,
that's fantastic. They did well.
They did really, really well. So Larry has won his choice of merch on letstalksupplychain.com under shop. And Matt, congrats on winning 45-minute session with Laura. And so for Matt, we're going to let him know to reach out to Regina for that particular prize. Now, seeing as far as the results, so if we can get the Encore team to post those results, and then I will be able to see those, and we can let you know what those answers are. In the meantime, I do want to introduce Ashley to the virtual stage. Ashley, so we're catching you a little bit early,
yes,
because you're going to be on screen in just a little bit talking about your case study.
Yes.
But we wanted to get you in early and give an exclusive to the digital audience before you get on stage, so we can ask all of our questions ahead of time. Isn't that right, Alex?
I think it is, yeah. I was a classic mute. No, it is. And I think the way we've done it is we brought speakers off stage, and we've usually given the virtual attendees kind of this after exclusive interview. And now, Ashley, you're getting it first. The viewers on our virtual audience are getting it first. So I think we're excited that we're switching up the format and giving the virtual audience some content before the physical audience actually hears anything.
Yeah, if you don't like spoilers.
Before we do that, we've got the answers from our poll. So 83% said the River of Demand was the best part of day one. I love to hear that, because we were talking about this yesterday and how that concept is really pretty cool. And we were talking about how people can actually put that into practice in their organizations. 14% of you said case studies as well, which is great. So we are going to actually hear more about the case studies, and you're one of them. So why don't you tell everybody who you are and what you do, and maybe, why you like supply chain?
My name is Ashley Yentz. My sleep number is an 80, and my average sleep IQ is roughly 75. I have young children that tend to get in our bed, so my sleep IQ is never stellar.
I want to know more about what that means, but we'll get to it in a bit.
sleeping. So 75 is pretty decent. I think our CEO, Shelley, she's often coming in the 80s, and I can never beat her, but that's okay. Anyway, so I started my career in supply chain many years ago at Toyota, have been in supply chain since, joined Sleep Number just under 2 years ago. I think my first time here getting an award was within my first months of being at Sleep Number, so very exciting. I am the Vice President of Supply Chain Strategy and Material Flow at Sleep Number. What that means is I'm making sure to direct our strategy, which is what I'll talk a little bit about today, as well as I'm in charge of the physical flow of materials. So the movement of material inbound and outbound falls under me. So
that's been fun over the last couple of years.
Sure, yeah, no disruptions.
About your experience.
Yes. So
you haven't gone gray yet. So.
No, I haven't gone gray. I'll talk a little bit today, but what's been a little bit fun in our world is the disruption of the physical flow of goods. And as you guys know, that anytime our physical flow stops, things happen. Inflation happens. All these signals are happening. And in particular for our product, our biggest challenge has been semiconductor. We sell smart beds. Mm-hmm. Those smart beds adjust to you while you sleep to get you a better night's sleep. Because our bed is smart, it means it has chip technology in it, semiconductor technology in it. And so that's been our largest battle, over the last year or so. And what I'll talk about today is just how we've improved our flexibility, how taking control of our end-to-end supply chain has allowed us to really focus on inventory and that physical flow of inventory, and how we treat our inventory. Inventory is very precious to us. Mm-hmm. When you can't get something, you start to look at your inventory very differently as far as how it flows outbound and back into us. Being in the furniture and retail space, we obviously allow returns. If you don't have a good night's sleep, we're going to take your stuff back. So we have to treat our inventory as in a very precious way. And with that movement, we've been able to kind of collaborate and bring a lot of capability to our network that allows us some optionality. When there is a disruption of physical flow, we can do something about that. And I'll talk a little bit about that today as well.
So I have, before we go into our next question, I just want to let the audience know in the ask section of the platform, if you have any questions for Ashley, now is the time. So make sure to put that in there so that we can ask those questions right now, because after your case study, Ashley is not coming back. So we want to make sure that we get all of your questions answered right now. Now, you mentioned returns. Now, because you're saying that you allow people to try it and then return.
Yeah.
So returns are one of the trickiest parts of anybody's supply chain.
Yes.
Can you talk us through how you're managing that? Because A, it's expensive. B, I would imagine that the returns on your particular product being big and bulky would also hamper some of the returns as well. So talk to us a little bit how you're managing that, and how do you take the product and restock it?
Yes. Okay. So a couple of things, and I'll talk a little bit about our story from a resilience perspective. But over the course of several years, we've been transforming our network. Prior to 2017 or so, we had a completely outsourced network. We would drop some boxes into UPS and then it would flow through an LTL channel. What we've been doing over the course of several years is setting up assembly distribution centers where we're taking control of the assembly of the bed and the physical movement of the bed, transforming our network more from a passive network to a proactive network. And what that means is we're intentional with every movement and every touch of our material, and we're providing visibility and connection at every point. Specifically, I talked a little bit about that semiconductor disruption. What the returns of our physical flow allow us to do is reuse our material.
Great.
We cannot sell a used bed, but we can reuse components of that bed through a control box or our chips. So what we've tried to pivot to is using our resupply as supply.
Nice.
So what we do is we bring it in. If you walk through our new assembly distribution centers, we often put our return center right outside our supervisor's office. They can see it, right? They see the problem and what has to be through, and essentially the evolution of our network has allowed us to actually be more capable with bringing our returns back. We're being smarter about that physical flow. If you imagine it's our tech, it's a the home delivery person trying to restack, repalletize our material.
Well, that's why I asked, because how is it packed when it gets there?
Yes.
Because it would happen and sort of.
Yes. So because we finished beds, we have to put them back in a nice way on a pallet and wrap it. Mm-hmm. And then it has to perfectly back for it to be, get back to us in one piece. And what we've found in typical channels or our passive network hasn't been reliable. Okay. So what we've been doing is partnering with different companies for last mile cross-dock delivery that allows us to do more full truckload milk runs, even in the return space. So if we have several returns in an area, we'll pass through and be able to optimize that truck and get those returns back in a timely manner so that we can reprocess and use our restock.
Amazing. Thank you for running us through that, because I was just at Home Delivery World last week.
Oh, you were?
And last mile delivery, and everybody's talking about getting it delivered. Mm-hmm. And what does that look like? We perform customer service to the best of our abilities. But we talk about returns, and I kept asking the question as to how are we helping customers? How are we helping customers like you with the returns?
Yes.
Right? What does that look like? It's the most costly part. It's the most wasteful.
Yes.
Right? And so how are we helping with that? Yes. And so I'm glad you were able to sort of run us through that.
Yeah. We're trying to minimize waste, not only through the process, but through the material usage. And then we've really tried to hone in on process discipline and visibility. I think visibility got knocked at the recap yesterday. But what visibility means is arming our techs with the right information that they need to execute that transaction at that time.
Yeah.
And we've stood up a digital platform that allows us to see our field inventory. Field inventory is a growing space for us. We've improved over 14 million lives through better sleep, which means we have a lot of what we call an install base. So a lot of beds out there that we want to make sure that we're continuing to service. So service, returns, parts, and inventory are becoming more and more of a challenge. But what we're trying to do is set up a digital platform in order for us to see and, again, take care of that really important inventory out in the field.
Yeah, and I wasn't knocking the word visibility. I was just mainly saying, and I've said this before on my podcast and in various different ways, is that people use that word and throw it around.
Yes.
When you're talking about the word visibility, you have a good idea as to what you're looking for in the outcome that you want from the visibility and what that needs to look like for you.
Yes.
A lot of times when we're using that word visibility, there's not that behind it.
Yes. And I'll give you another intentional visibility that we've created. So I talked a little bit about semiconductors. When we talk about visibility, we are talking up into our semiconductor supply chain up in more tiers. So we're trying to get demand signals earlier to understand how we need to adjust our optionality in our product, or do we need to shift types of chips that we're buying based on what's happening in the signals well above the supply chain that we're typically interacting with. So we've kind of built it on the back, the home side, the customer side, really connect to the customer all the way up as far as we can into the supplier in a really basic way, right? We're not technically using these amazing platforms or whatever, but we're being really intentional. Like, these are the suppliers we need to know more about because we are handcuffed a bit in the semiconductor space.
Alex, I want to bring you into the discussion because I think Ashley and I could talk for hours.
well, what's interesting to me is the visibility. Ashley, you said at the beginning, do you have flow in your title? Do you have the word flow in your title? Sarah, what is that, like one of one supply chain leaders? You got to think about that. And when you have that intentionality in your title, you have that intentionality in your visibility too, because you are mapping out your flow, your river of demand, whether we did that yesterday or across your entire supply chain. So it makes sense, nonetheless, that Sleep Number kind of has this position. And I think it actually leads us well into the next question, which is, actually, you've won a significant award now, the Supply Chains to Admire Award. You've won it 4 times in Sleep Number, right? Can you tell us a little bit about that and kind of maybe some of the metric things that have led Sleep Number to that award?
Yeah. So so I think, am I Am I the one speaker to have most awards?
We think so.
Good. Okay, well, that's good from a competitive standpoint. So we 4 times, I don't believe 4 times in a row. I think there was a year there that we didn't do well, and it may have been a transformative year for us. Something that's
okay. It's a learning.
Yes. Something that we're really focused on at Sleep Number. Right, we're a wellness company. We're mission based, meaning we want to improve the lives of our customer through a better night's sleep. And we do that through the individuality of our sleepers and through our team. So we value diversity from a sleeper position. So how do everyone sleeps different. How do we create a product that way to our team members, right? So our team members bring different points of view and different objectives. And I think a focus on individuality as well as an extreme focus on customer and what that experience is for the customer, getting them sleeping faster. We want them to be comfortable with their bed as fast as possible. And a big part of that is our fulfillment experience. And that unified kind of mission to the customer is what has propelled us. We are incredibly, I think I talked about this last year, we don't have a lot of silos at Sleep Number. We work very well horizontally in the mission of improving the lives of our customers. And that's our biggest North Star is how is our customer doing? What is the customer sensing? How are they feeling about this? And how does that impact our strategy from the bedroom back?
How do you get that information from your customer? Like, how are you measuring it, right? Because a lot of people traditionally go to surveys.
Yes.
Those work. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It sounds like you have a little bit more hands-on experience with the client when you're actually either delivering or picking up, which might help with that. I don't know.
Yeah, well, we certainly get a lot of noise from our home delivery partners. As you can imagine, they're our customer in fulfillment, right? And they feel the refurb or the feedback from the customer. And we talk with them almost daily about that. What are you feeling in this market? How is this market done? So we talk about a strategy and fulfillment, but again, it's centered around individuality. We have different needs in different markets. Okay. A lot of that is based on how we deliver, who our customer is in that market. And what we're doing is continuously having a conversation across the organization of what's happening in each market so that we can adjust. And it's not that we have individual strategies in each market, but we're saying, okay, here's our strategy, but let's individualize it for that area to make sure that the tech can really do their job, and the tech's job in our new supply chain is really to get the sleeper comfortable with the bed. We want them to just go in there, get them set up with their technology, their Sleep IQ technology, explain it to their customer, and get them really comfortable night one so that they're having a better night's sleep right off the bat, which is the best thing from a brand experience.
Yeah. So Ashley and I talked about this morning how you're going to be getting into Canada so that I can get one of these beds and I can start figuring out Sleep IQ, because I'm telling you, I definitely need that score.
Yes.
And I'm sure, do you have people, actually competing?
Oh, yeah. So internally, internally, we have competition all the time. And generally, the results could be something as amazing as a new bed, right? Okay. So we just get beds. Right.
Wow.
So a new bed or like new pillows. We sell kind of the whole sleep experience. So we've got pillows, blankets, all of that stuff. So any large gathering of people, we're generally having a contest around our Sleep IQ score. Yeah. So not only are we want everyone else to be sleeping better, it is very intentional that we want our team and our community at Sleep Number sleeping better so that we can do the best for our customers as well.
Wow, I need to get in on this action. It's probably all over social media too, where people are competing with their sleep IQs.
I believe it is actually. I'll send you a post. Yeah.
Send me a post. I definitely want to check. So let's talk about that 1 year of learning.
Yeah.
How did the whole "don't sell beds, sell sleep" slogan or motto redesign your supply chain? Because you talk about intentionality, and that has a lot to do with your intentionality around your customer, what you want that experience to be like for them. And then, for me, it's that domino effect of how does everybody sort of support that? So walk us through, you guys designed the motto, right? Don't sell beds, sell sleep. And then you as the supply chain professional was like, okay, how does my team support that motto? How do we redesign the supply chain? And what does that mean that we need to do, not only internally, but also with the partners that you were talking about?
Yeah. So again, we really have this focus on customer, and the biggest challenge we were seeing, kind of the signal we were getting from the customer, is perception based. It was the bed is a different technology. It felt uncomfortable. It was weird to sleep on, or they felt like it wasn't keeping its sleep number overnight. There's some perception issues intrinsic with our product moat, what we've created. And that started us thinking down a path of what should they experience within the home, right? How do we make sure that these people are sleeping soundly night one? And how does that change our strategy? The year of rebuilding I'm talking about is we used to we bring these big bulky boxes into your home and we build the bed in your bedroom. And there's there are things that customers learn within that process that isn't about how you sleep better on that bed. Right. So there's a lot of time taken up in the home just trying to set up the thing.
Yeah.
And what we wanted to do is take that experience out of the bedroom, really assemble our distributions assemble our smart beds upstream. Okay. So that when we walk through the home, the smart bed packaging, it looks beautiful, it looks cool, and it comes right into your bedroom. And we're really talking about how you feel on the bed and how to adjust your sleep number and get you sleeping right away. So with that move, we were very intentional with, we've set up over 7 distributions across our network. We now have more control over our distribution. We're also moving from more distribution to more stable truck. We still obviously have to use LTL in some markets. So it's really about pulling in more control and capability so that we can really leverage this network. The other thing that we learned is over COVID is in supply chain, it used to be, when is the disruption happening? Right. We kind of knew of a few. Produce season. We knew of a few things such as for peak. We kind of knew of a few of the disruptions, but now our motto is not if something will be disrupted, it's just like when. And this intentionality of bringing things in-house and having more control over our assembly and how we distribute that product allowed us to gamify disruptions. So if there is a disruption somewhere in our network, we now have more resources and control to flex to that disruption. So for example, there's a hurricane. We also produce in Florida. We can move the orders into our Florida location and get those beds to our customers and still the
bedroom is really the most intimate place that you could be delivering. And obviously you're touching the customer a lot more than any of your competition. And so how do you outperform them? I guess you do that through customer service. And but are you outsourcing the delivery and the delivery people?
We have we have a vertically integrated supply chain.
All right.
So we have control over a good part of our supply. We have control over our assembly, and we have a control over our end distribution through last mile. We do partner with certain partners in certain areas. As do most companies nowadays, right? We got to help each other utilize our assets. But we have full control not only over our brand, right? We only sell our own beds. We don't sell to any other retailer. We're the only retailer of our smart bed, all the way up through our control over our supply and our integrated.
So you don't have any distributors?
We do not.
Interesting.
So we have full control over our brand experience, our innovation. We have full control over our technology, our sleep innovations. Right. We made a strategic acquisition. I forget what year it was of our what we call Sleep IQ Labs, which is all around really researching sleep and improving the technology around sleep. They've innovated basically a sensor in our bed that we're able to you're able to send your sleep data to your doctor if you would need to. So we're trying to innovate in the sleep space. So we have complete control over all of those business needs. And I think that's a big part of why we have outperformed a lot of our competitors.
Yeah, and since your case study is coming up a little bit later today, what's one key takeaway, or maybe there's one key insight that you'd like people to really sit down and listen to, or maybe take away and put into action from what you're going to be talking about a little bit later?
Yeah, I think the biggest one, not all of us can have integrated supply chain or integrated businesses. Yeah. So I think the big one for me is I'm going to talk a lot about flexibility, and then flexibility could be one of those buzzwords that you kill later, but when I talk about flexibility, I'm going to talk about 3 inputs: having the right visibility, arming people and process with the right information at the right time, building capability within your process, right? Part of our evolution to a new network was building more capabilities internally so that we can build resilience. And resilience just means, how are we going to react against what to manage?
Right.
And so I'll talk about those 3 key points. And I think to build flexibility, you need all 3, and that's what we're doing at Sleep Number Supply Chain.
Yeah, and to take notice, right? And have an idea how you're doing things and how it can translate into other industries for other supply chain professionals. I mean, at the end of the day, the last 2 years and even, still going on right now, things have been difficult and we're still sort of putting out fires. But I think we're also taking a look at, what does the future of our supply chains need to look like, right? That's what we're talking about at the conference. And what are other people doing in other industries that can translate into what we're doing in our organization, and how we can be, because at the end of the day, we've talked a lot about customer experience. Supply chain fuels customer experience, and it's how you keep your customers. It's how you get new customers. And I love the fact that you're intentional about it and that you work towards the motto, and that supply chain is support, and you're empowering, right? And each team that's within the organization is empowering everybody to that one common goal.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really, really important.
Yeah. Fantastic.
So
and flexing to the challenges too. I love what you said there. Sorry to cut you off there, Sarah. I love what you said, Ashley, around each new disruption is it's a challenge. It's like a gamified way. How do we work around this? Not, oh my God, this is going to blow us up and make us, stop operating. And that's the mindset. I think that's really the 2030 mindset that we all need to get to today. And I thought that's a great takeaway as well.
Absolutely. Well, now it's time to go back to our super talented host, Laura Sestiri, for her keynote live from the event. Need a supply chain reset? Well, then make sure that you pay attention. We'll see you all again here on the digital stage at 10 a.m. Eastern.